For 17 years, Dr. Frank Artris was a cardiac anesthesiologist in Northern California. After a nearly fatal climb on Mount Kilimanjaro in 2002, he and his wife Susan Gustafson realized they were living for the wrong reasons. They gave up their lives, sold everything, and moved to Tanzania to bring health care to the people who had saved Frank's life.
We basically fell in love with the country and the people here. And we decided to return again the next year and climb Kilimanjaro, which is not a technical climb, but it's the highest mountain on the African continent.
For 5 days, Frank and Susan enjoyed their climb up Mount Kilimanjaro. But on the 6th and final day, Frank became distracted by the beauty of his surroundings, taking pictures instead of caring for one critical thing, his drinking water. It had frozen, and he wasn't drinking as he climbed.
I got up from lunch, and all of a sudden I was having trouble breathing. And I could sense my lungs were filling up with water.
As a doctor, Frank knew he was in trouble. He pulled Susan aside and told her what was wrong.
This is high-altitude pulmonary edema. I said the only cure for it is to get down.
But they couldn't just turn around. The mountain path was too unstable in the evening. Frank's only hope was to keep climbing and descend on the other side. Having made it over the top, Frank's porters called for help, and rangers brought a stretcher to bring him down.
Suddenly I got hit with this real kind of strong feeling of regret. I hadn't used the opportunity I had in my life to do something a little more useful, something to kind of contribute back to society. It's kind of a sobering thought when you deal with your death at that sort of a level.
That day on Mount Kilimanjaro would inspire Dr. Frank and his wife to leave their comfortable lives in California and become bush doctors, dedicated to improving medical care in Tanzania.
Habari za safari, Mary. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you're fastening your seatbelts, we are getting ready for takeoff now.
Dr. Frank and Susan traveled to rural schools and villages in northern Tanzania in a donated mobile clinic.
We are heading out to Minjingu. Yeah, gonna do some clinic out there. You know, like we do up there at Oldiani, except we'll do it out in Minjingu.
When villagers find out Dr. Frank is holding a bush clinic, hopeful patients will sometimes walk for days to get treated. The patient-to-doctor ratio in some of the areas he visits is 60,000 to 1. At Three Hills School in Mdori, Dr. Frank and his volunteer medical staff will see 650 children and adults over 3 days. He works outside under the trees on rickety wooden school desks.
Like I said, we're not looking at their retinas with the ophthalmoscope looking for vascular notching or any bizarre tiny little things. You just, it's like, do they have 3 eyes? And
That should be pretty simple.
word gets out and sick adults start trickling in by the dozens.
Okay, I'm trying to screen some people out. I just found a guy with tuberculosis who hasn't been to the hospital in years.
Does she have any symptoms when she urinates?
Yes.
Pain and burning?
Yes.
Has a severe urinary tract infection. She has a peptic ulcer disease. And that's where we had to stop the problem list, just to...
So you're using the pink one now.
That's good. I don't
Tulia tu hapo, unapata sindano eh?
Ooh, moon over Miami. Okay.
Pole.
Pole sana, mama.
Na wako aje kesho eh? Pole sana.
I never had him laugh before when I give him shots. I don't understand.
It's black as in gunky brown?
I hope that's what it is.
Well, there could be a bug in there. That's another comment. You know, Asha? Oh, it's the bug. It moved. Oh, it started to swell. No bite, no spider, no. If you squirt me with something, Frank, I would not be happy. I feel like I'm in the line of fire there.
At this stage, the thing is, you have to know which kind of snake it is to treat it, because there's the neurotoxins, the hematotoxins, and this far down the line, we're not worried about an acute death from snake bites. I'm going to do one just tiny quick stab, but a local anesthetic trying to put it in would hurt worse than the stab. So it's going to be just one little and that's it.
You can do it. You can do it.
Without a little better anesthesia, I don't want to keep hurting her much. Clearly, I got 17 interesting ones over here. Can you count that?
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think this one beats them all.
When did this start?
Ilianza tangu alizaliwa.
Tangu alizaliwa.
Ilianza kama
Mwaka jana ndio akafanyiwa operation.
it happened when she was born. It was more swollen, and they took out some of the skin. Like what he's saying is that there's less loose skin there was before after that operation.
We're only able to handle 27 problems at once. So anything after that, we'll have to wait till the next time. But we'll just try to handle the first 27. Okay. Are you making a big list, Susan, of the 300 things we found we don't have or ran out of?
What are you thinking of though right now?
What am I thinking of? Ooh, an ice cold Diet Coke. That's what I'm thinking of.
Having finished at the school, Frank and Susan move on to a Maasai village. Because of poverty, isolation, and a lack of dependable medical care, many of those people have never seen a doctor.
Habari za nyumbani?
Alhamdulillah.
Haya, nzuri.
Thanks be to God.
Karibu.
Asante. Pain or itching? Pain. I can't tell if she's laughing or crying.
I can't either.
We'll have to follow up with her.
Volunteers treating this little girl believe she was burned by a witch doctor who is trying to remove a boil.
It was surrounded by pus when I took the bandage off.
Mm-hmm. What was the wound originally? What caused it? Do we know?
No.
They went to a witch doctor to try to stop the wound to be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't manage. Then they went to Syrian.
In much of rural Tanzania, Western medicine is a novelty. Tribal villagers still rely on witch doctors and traditional healers who treat with herbs, potions, and prayers.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. You're okay.
Number one, needs some albendazole syrup for the worms. Because it is draining, I think we're going to just be best to just let it drain a while, do the antibiotics, and see it'll either drain and heal or it will close up and we'll have to lance it.
For just a few dollars in medicine, Dr. Frank can save children who would otherwise die of malaria, tuberculosis, and basic infections.
Oh.
But maybe it's sad because you have a new car for picking out from the bush.
You have a new car.
I came here and I started looking around and realizing that if somebody comes in sick, you didn't have to do $10,000 worth of tests to improve the quality of their life. Oftentimes, we ran into these amazing cases where you could give somebody $1.50 worth of antibiotics and absolutely change the quality of their life. Save a life. It's sort of back to all the fun reasons I went into being a doctor, and not all the bad stuff that's gotten attached to it in the U.S.